What's up, everybody? My name is Big78, aka Brand. This is episode 74 of the Anime Dojo. I'm alongside Chris and Deon this evening. Gentlemen, how you doing?
All
Doing
right.
good.
This is a weird recording. We usually record these on Tuesday. We have to record on Monday this week, so it's a special Monday episode.
Monday night special.
Yeah, this will this will go out as normal on Thursday's podcast recording and on video. So that will not change. But we do have a couple things to get into. We have the charts for week 12 of the anime season. We also have the winter season as a whole to talk about. We're going to talk about our picks for the winter season, what we're going to be looking forward to watching. Then we'll get into one other big story, which was cyberpunk related, because cyberpunk is kind of coming back through in Netflix. I wonder what this is going to be. Not really much information yet, but it's some kind of interesting things to talk about talk about as well. And then we'll get into the last episode of Shy episode 24. Yeah, that's gonna be one to get into because as me and Deon talked about last week, it's weird. It was weird. It didn't really hit the way it hit. So we're gonna see how this last episode hits. Let's start off with this. So Cyberpunk announced, or Netflix announced there's a Cyberpunk project in the works. Another project. They've made the anime. We don't know much about this other project. We're gonna kind of see that later down the road. I'm gonna start off with Deon for this. What do you think this other project will be? Because I could see one or two things. I could see another season 2 of the anime, or they do a different story entirely. That's gonna be still anime related, but in the cyberpunk world. What's your kind of thoughts there?
I feel like they're gonna play off of the game.
Ooh.
I feel like they're gonna play off of the game. They're gonna have some type of spin to tie the two worlds completely together.
How?
An anime would be. I can't like Cyberpunk's anime was amazing.
Oh
Even
yeah.
sloppily done the way it was still good.
Oh yeah.
I would love to see more of that. A lot more of that actually. So
The
here's
downside
so
with this, I think, is if you combine the two worlds, and they've kind of already did it because you see things from the game in the actual cyberpunk anime. I don't know what you could really combine actually. If you combine them to the worlds, what else could you really combine to make it one cohesive thing? And the other big issue is the story had a clear-cut ending. So if you did a secondary story or her continuing on or something of that nature, what would that story be about?
like future stuff.
When you say future stuff, what do you mean?
Like you see them all kind of our main character for sure. Like, but I can see them all grown up and like doing what main did to a new guy, the way they did to him.
Okay.
I can see that.
Chris, what's your thoughts about this? What do you thought about that Netflix is going to make another cyberpunk project? What do you think about what it could be? Do you think they could do, like Deon said, another side story, all grown up kind of thing, or do something else entirely?
Okay. First off, called it. Because I said if they do another one, it has to be a completely different story set in the same space as Night City. Now, it can be done well. I do have to disagree with Dion. I hope it does not tie into the game story. There's just too much going on with it. However, with the DLC that they put out it did give them more room to expand with more story options, which would be a lot more to explore with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
The
Different
DLC.
person, same world, same situation.
But you do the thing. So we've seen it from the street kid perspective. And it's weird because we've never seen it from, I don't think we're going to see it from, we've seen in the games you can do the nomad and even the corporal path. I would be kind of interested to see if they could do a thing where you follow a character in the other situation. Like he's a corporal, he or she's a corporal. he or she's a nomad, and then they come into Night City, and then they learn about that world and that what Night City is about, but also has to figure out what they want to do in Night City. Because ultimately, I think if you meet, I think you can still meet Lucy. I think you can still have the other characters. It's kind of interesting because Netflix is cooking right now slightly because they have things in the pipeline. In the sense, you have One Piece season 2 live action coming out. We got the random announcement of Devil May Cry for 2025, which they put up the trailer for. We got the random announcement for something else that's coming out later 2025. So like, we do know this project's not going to be in the immediate future. But I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna ask you Chris first, and then I'll ask you on this. Do you think it's still going to be slated for like early 2025, or do you think it's later down the road kind of thing?
I would have to guess probably early 2026.
Okay. Okay.
Like, just enough because they had to have time, and then they had to get approval because remember, CD Projekt is also supposed to be putting out another game.
Correct.
So I'm sure they don't want their games to either coincide, or maybe they wanted to follow up with. But so it's a lot of ifs and ands and the ways it can go at this point.
I do think it's interesting because if you do wait to 2026 and we do get the game announcement, I think it would coincide well with the game announcement, but also it could be kind of a teaser. If you do, the anime comes out, then the game announcement happens, and then that people get people hyped for the game announcement. We'll see. Same question to you, Deon. What do you think about what time frame? What do you think this will come out? You got to guess.
Well, I feel like it's ready to come out now. They're just fine tuning it. Because how long has it been since Cyberpunk has been out? They
Uh,
are quick with game stuff, so I feel like they're
mm-hmm.
gonna release it within the next year or so.
Okay.
Sometime within the
Okay.
next year or so. I don't think it'll come out this year. If it does, then they've been sitting on this for a long time, just waiting for permission.
Yeah. Do you remember when the original came out, Chris? When the anime first aired?
For Cyberpunk,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. Netflix will tell you.
Because I was thinking it's 2022 or 2023.
No, it wasn't 23. More like anywhere between 21 and 22.
22. Okay. If that's the case, you could do multiple things. If it's 22, that would be 3 years.
It's 22. Yep.
22. So that'd be 3 years. If Deon's theory is right, it came out in 22, fully out. They've almost had 2.5 years, almost 3 years to make this project with CD Projekt Red's approval. I could technically see it come out near the end of, not the end of, we won't, I think we're getting more information at the end of this year, but I could technically see it coming out early to middle of 2025. If Deon theory, they've been sitting on it for a while.
Summertime 2025.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would be not surprising. It's interesting because we're getting so many announcements for 2025. It's kind of odd to me because this is one that's kind of flown under the radar. Not under the
Well,
radar,
see, but you have to kind of remember it this way too. Netflix is already supposed to be pushing a lot of content next year. So I don't know how much they want to flood their own app with stuff because I mean they still want to get, metrics and everything.
yeah, they do. Um, so I can see it. Like we get that rest information at the end of this year. We get an announcement for 2026 at the earliest, at the latest, but I could see it maybe late 2025 going into 2026. Okay. I'll start with you for Chris first for this. How hyped are you for this project from Netflix and CD Projekt Red?
Right now I'm only about a 5 because I don't know enough about it.
Okay. Okay. Deon, same question to you. How hyped are you for this project? Let's see.
I would say he's aesthetic, but I think he's having a few issues.
Yeah, I will. I will go with you on this. I think I'm more inclined to say like a set, like a 6. So I'll go one higher. I'm not thinking it's going to be perfect, but I think there's something there. It's interesting because I think out of everything Netflix has collabed with, outside of One Piece, the stuff with CJ Project Red for Cyberpunk was the best stuff they've done. And I think that's the thing that they want to keep in good graces. Because the other thing about this, when we got the announcement about Devil May Cry, I don't know if you remember seeing this, it was that the Devil May Cry series was also backed by Capcom. And
Yep.
Capcom's helping them make that series. So it's one of those things where I think it's going to be interesting to see what they really get into doing this and like building up their library. Because if, and full disclosure, ladies and gentlemen, we were watching Record of Ragnarok before this, and my word, that is amazing. And that's next week's
We
original.
only made it through the first bout, guys. So those who have seen it, leave us your comments. Let us know.
Yeah, like it's weird to me because Netflix is on a roll, but it's odd because they're not the top dogs. They're not even like they're like barely behind Crunchyroll, but yet it's funny to
But
me.
they are the competition.
They are the competition. It's funny to me. I have to say this, and it's going to be kind of solid. But I'm saying if I had to rank the 3 companies between Crunchyroll, Netflix, High Dive, I would put it would be High Dive, Crunchyroll, Netflix,
Interesting.
and only because I think High Dive does a better job of like the stuff they want to make, they make it interesting. The stuff they don't, the stuff that doesn't really get a lot of hype, like Dungeon People, like Plus Size Elves, like 2.5 Deduction. Those are really good shows, but at the same time, Crunchyroll tries to do things that are similar but more in that same realm, and I don't think it works so well. But then Netflix tries the other end of the spectrum where they do more mythological stuff. They do more telling their own stories. They have some new stuff in there, but it's not. They build out their own anime space, and I think that's going to be the interesting going into 2025. Can Netflix build their own anime space for fans of Netflix? And that's what they're trying to do. That is their whole goal. Before we move on to the next topic, I was going to get back to Deon for this. I asked Chris this earlier, and I don't know if you heard. What would you give the Cyberpunk project on a scale of 1 to 10? How hype are you for it?
Honestly, I'm gonna say a 6.
I said the exact same thing. I said the exact same thing. Why?
I'll say a 6.
Do you?
Cause it's Netflix.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. I will say this.
Like I like Cyberpunk, man. I do. I at least I did.
Mhm.
I haven't played the game though, so
Yeah. Oh, you haven't played the game.
can't like it that much, right? Nope.
Oh wow, I did not know.
I just watch people review it and play it,
I
and
did not know you played it. It's one of the most fun games to play.
yeah.
I recommend people to play.
I haven't actually played it.
I
Well,
recommend
now
people
that
play.
you have an Xbox and
Well-
we had talked about getting one for Christmas, we can probably just get you some games and be like, yeah, play these games.
That is one on the list. That is one on the list I think most people should play. If you like story games or story action games.
No, it's definitely in the wheelhouse of games that I would play. But games like that, I'm more of a PC gamer.
Yeah.
And y'all see how my internet acts.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That is very true.
it's kind of hard for me to play games like that. Like I'm a big Valorant fan, can't play it.
See, I didn't like Valorant as much as
I had to stick to. Even my console is acting up right now. I can't even load up Crunchyroll. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
It's as my gamer is in there playing Valorant, I can hear her screaming through the walls how bad she's lagging.
Okay. I will say this before we go on the next topic. I think the one thing I will say, if Cyberpunk was on Crunchyroll or on High Dive, I'll say Crunchyroll more or less. I think it would do a lot better. Somewhat because I think Crunchyroll, even though Netflix is a bigger platform, I think Crunchyroll is more for the anime fans. So I think if you have played the game or just interested, people will go out of their way to find it on Crunchyroll. On Netflix, you're not going to go out of your way to find it unless you're just, it's on their homepage. It's pretty easy to find, but I don't think it's one of those like big things where people are like, I need to go watch this, and you have no understanding of what the game is or what what you're seeing. But we'll see. We'll see what this project
The
is.
biggest part of that is more anime watchers have Crunchyroll than they have Netflix.
Correct. That's the other problem. But we'll see how it goes. Let us know in the comments what you think. Let's get into this. So the winter season is about to start after next week. I will put this out there. This is probably one of the few times where I'm like, this winter season has so many shows, and it's not like.
Wait, do you mean the fall or the winter?
Oh, is it fall? Sorry, I forget.
Fall season.
Fall season. I'm saying winter. I mean fall.
But they have already started announcing winter shows, so
They
I
have,
understand
which is also kind of bad. Like this fall season is just kind of insane to me because I don't know what they're thinking because we're getting so much. And the thing was, I don't really expect all these to be great hitters, but I do expect some of them to be. So, Deon, I'm gonna start off with you with it for this. Give me 3. I just need 3.
I completely dropped out. I have no idea what we're talking about right now.
So we're talking about the fall season.
Okay.
Give me 3 shows you're looking forward to in the fall season.
Oh my goodness, that's kind of hard, bro. Because
No, it
there's a
ain't.
few sleepers on there that I want to see.
Okay.
Yeah, but okay, but we already know one that's on your list, so we can
What's
scratch
that?
that one off. 1,000 Year Blood War.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah,
I
So
mean, that's like
I kind
that's
of
a
figured that was on the
given.
list.
Like
okay,
that's
so go ahead and pick 2.
so I was trying to think of stuff that's like not big name, like big stuff, like you know. But what's the one that's I want to see it. Y'all go forgive me for this, please. I want to see it because I want to see how cringe it is. If it's Oshinoko level or if it's worse. Um, and I could be wrong at its release date, but I think it is coming out in the fall. It's called "What If My Wife Turns into a Middle Schooler."
You're
I
actually
did
close.
see
You're
that.
close. If my wife becomes an elementary school,
Elementary school, yes, that
see
one,
it. Yep.
bro.
I, okay. I saw this premise, and I'll let you get your last pick in. But I saw this premise, and this
Okay.
premise is weird because a lot of people thought this was not a good idea to make this because they were like, "That is skirting a line that is so
Yeah,
close to breaking it. It's like, why would you
yeah.
do it?"
But I want to see if it's good because if it's a good anime, like written well, and it doesn't do good, then I know that Oshinoko. I'm biased. Then I know that Oshinoko's popularity was all because of the name, all because of people hyping it up, and not because it's actually good. Because that premise, I would say, is even worse
Mm-hmm.
than your already adult wife turning into a middle schooler or elementary student, and it's like you ain't doing nothing with her. You just gotta raise your wife now. Like it's supposed to be wholesome. I'm doing a lot with my arms, but it's supposed to be wholesome.
But it
But
can't
I
be.
want to see how it's actually written.
Okay. Okay.
Because I hate Oshinoko that much.
Well, hey, I know. I got. Give me your third one.
Oh, the third one. Let me see. There's another sleeper. It's what is it called? What was it? 1 second. 1 second. I gotta look at it because I don't want to be wrong. I mean, I don't mind being wrong, but
I also think too that, and I thought it was funny when people talked about they thought this title was kind of like it's a little much from the studio. But I'm like, and Chris understand attest to this. We got plus size elves. Chris also attest. We've also gotten things like, let's see, we watched what was the show we watched and y'all thought I was weird for watching it.
The Vampire Dormitory.
oh
Yes.
my god,
Yeah.
yeah.
Vampire
What?
Dormitory. So I get the level
No,
of
we didn't
cringe.
say you were weird for watching it. We thought you were weird for liking it.
But see, that's the same problem. That's the same premise of like Twilight, kind of weird, doesn't really make sense. And then ultimately, if they're doing a story like this, then you're really touching on that weird, like, adult trying to take care of his wife as a child. Like that whole situation just doesn't sound great. And Ocean Coast, the whole plot didn't sound great, but people like it. I highly doubt it's going to do well enough to where it's going to be in the top 15 for most weeks. Probably. I could be wrong. I'll give you one of mine, and it's one that I didn't really think I would really get interested in, but I wanted to see it because of the because of what it is, but also like I noticed it was kind of interesting. Well, partially one of mine is Tomb Raider, but that's just because it's Tomb Raider. The other one I really want to see, and I think it's just going to be kind of like, I think it's called. It's not an anime, but it's the movie Overlord, The Sacred Kingdom. I will say with Overlord, I watched most of the series. I watched all the series. It was kind of slow, but I'm interested in what they're gonna do with this movie of Sacred Kingdom. Like that's one I'm like, oh, okay. That's also about this year. We're getting a lot of movies. A lot of movies. Chris, give me your three if you have all three, and then we'll let Deon finish his third.
Okay, so avoiding the big ones, I want a Frufria from Commonplace to World's Strongest, Shangri-La season 2.
That's a big one, bro.
What,
Actually,
Shangri-La?
I don't think Shangri-La is gonna be that.
No, from Commonplace, bro. That is like
That
one
is
of the dopest anime to have ever come out of isekai history.
nah.
What?
It's not one. It's not as big as Bleach or Dragon Ball Dynamo. Okay.
Nah. I mean, it's not on that
Yeah.
tier, but it is one of the dopest like isekais to have existed in history. It's up there with Black Summoner.
Black Summer does go hard. Okay.
It's up there with Black Summoner. Like Black Summoner is dope. It's not god level like Dragon Ball Z or nothing, but you can't deny. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
I love that. I love that. Okay, I'll give you both. I'll give you both of those. I would, but the funny thing, and I also would say this, the only reason I didn't pick Shangri-La because I also know Shangri-La is considered big as well. But I also agree with Chris. I think it's one of those Shangri-La's not gonna be as big as some of the other stuff on here. It doesn't hit the same. But I can see it. What's your third one, Chris?
Shoot, I had forgot it. We was talking and laughing. Shoot.
my bad.
No, we're good. That's fine. I didn't mind it.
Fantasy 2099. That's one of the ones I think is gonna be a sleeper.
Fantasy 20. Oh, is that the Demon Lord 2099?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I saw that title. I was like, okay, that seems pretty cool. My third one, outside of that one because that was on my list, I want to see, and it's a weird one to say. Between there's two. You Are Miss Servant and the healer who's been banished from his party, or the healer who was banished to ordinary on the moving or on the movement of the earth. Um, that sounds kind of interesting. Both of those have like interesting titles, and I think those are like more that's like have interesting stories in my case. The only ones I really are going to be kind of interested in is like, um, I think I want to see how Blue Exodus does because that's coming back. I think Blue Lock is also being interesting to kind of see what they're going to do. Yeah, those like I think those are my like ones I'm kind of looking at. Um, I know, Chris, you said like you got a list of 20. Is that because you
Oh
just kind
yeah,
of try? You just kind of just try to see everything and see what you like.
bro. Because I
Nah,
feel like
bro.
it's gonna be so many sleepers, man.
I could easily give you 20 of non-sleepers.
Wow, wow,
See,
wow.
see,
Okay, okay,
yes.
but
Yeah,
okay.
I can
So
give you 20 of non-sleepers. Like,
we
you got to
we talk.
think, there's a lot of stuff still continuing.
Okay, that's fair.
Like Bleach, Blue Lock, Dan, uh, Dragon Ball Daima,
Yeah,
the
Dynasty.
ramen noodle one. Like, it's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff coming out.
Well, okay.
That's
The question I'm going to bring up, and I think I'm going to counter
yeah.
you with, Deon, is the fact. Look at the last season. The last season had a lot of sleepers, but then what ended up happening? What ended up happening? A lot of them fell
This
off
season got a lot.
pretty hard. A lot of them fell off pretty hard from this past season,
See,
and I
but
don't think
just
it.
like we talked about last episode, I'm sorry, B, I gotta cut you off though. It's just like we talked about last episode.
Fair enough.
Just y'all feel like they fell off. I like them.
Oh no! Okay, here's the thing. I have my whole watch list right in front of me for Crunchyroll. I'll give you an example because I caught up on Mocha Punch. I caught up on VTuber Legend. I caught up on the Own Adventure up to the point I think the last episode came out today.
See, I don't even like none of them. No.
Like I didn't cut up. I wanted story I wanted sword yet. I need to. I love the Blue Samurai. Bye by Earth is good, but the thing I'm saying with that is, look how many there are sleepers, but yet look at the genres I can give you. Two of them deal with VTubers and YouTubers. One deals with a demon lord that's a human. One deals with like Harry Potter as Harry Potter mixed with Mash. One's an old timey samurai thing. The other and then one is a enter who doesn't know how much power he has. The thing I'm putting out here is the fact that we got similar stuff across the board on Hideout as well, but also we got similar stuff just in general. I think the
That's
one thing
anime though.
that's true. That is very true.
I was watched a video the other day where everybody was comparing everything to uh Naruto.
How in the world are you doing that?
Naruto because you have the protagonist who lost everything, who's now
Okay.
part of a group that has like a protagonist antagonist type of character that they are actually friends, but they're forced to work together. Like, but then when you look back at it, it's all just Dragon Ball Z.
Fair enough. Right.
So you can't make comparisons to anime because it's like music. The notes may be the same, but you're gonna get different sounds from it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like if that was the case, Killua and Gon, Vegeta and Goku, Naruto and Sasuke, uh, Gojo and what's his name? Even Itadori and you like
Yeah.
you can't escape that. Akuma and the I forget his name, but from Akuma got killed. Every everything is gonna
Yeah.
have similarities because you
But
these
even in that case, if you're gonna go down that route, I'll give you one that I didn't think. You said Ichidori. I would go Ichidori and
you should
Jinu from Soul Leveling. Those are similar people.
oh yeah.
And it's actually kind of funny because it doesn't those two shows have different plots entirely. But yeah, the person's getting stronger. They've been all this kind of stuff. And it's just kind of
He
like I
still
get it.
got that. He still got that quirky side character that's attaching itself to him. He still got that girl that seems weak, but is following around and could potentially be a love interest or might not. Like it's all gonna be the same story. Every
Well,
isekai is gonna have similar premises, but
so I'm gonna
it's anime.
so I'm gonna ask I'm gonna ask this because they talked about this with Games Lot, and I think it's a good premise here we can talk about before we get into the charts.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's nothing new under the sun for anime? Because they say a lot of games, and Chris can attest, a lot of games use the same same storylines, or same plots, or even same premises, and there's no real new ideas for the gaming. And anime don't seem like that's a problem, but it seems like they can do that sometimes with certain shows. Isekai being one of them, or genres. Isekai being one of them, where isekais are all pretty much the same or similar premise.
See, I think it's our perspective.
Okay.
Um, and as a musician, this is kind of why. There's only so much you can do as a person who has learned from somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And these
Okay.
writers and producers have even
You were talking
Dang
about the like
it. Internet cut out when it was getting good.
yeah, I get where he's going with like the writers and producers and the fact that they have to kind of, or most of the time, have to build into new things, have to find new ways to tell stories. So I kind of see where he's
Hmm.
going. Eh,
Well, yeah, because the isekai is an isekai. Like there are traits of a show that makes an isekai.
yes.
So so again, they're always looking at a fresh take on the same story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
It.
that's one way to look at it.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because like this list has a lot of stuff, a lot of good, a lot of great stuff. It's a little odd to me because I'll let Deon finish his points in a second. It's a little odd to me because I think this is going to be one of those seasons because like people are hyping up Dan to Dan. People are hyping up. We're getting about 5-6 movies this coming year, this coming fall season that are going to be big. My Hero. We're getting this thing, Attack on Titan movie. We're getting the Soul Leveling thing. We're getting a bunch of stuff. Like this is going to be one of those years where I'm like, oh, fall is going to be kind of insane, but also is it going to be one of those things where people are going to care? Because I think a lot of people didn't care about the summer after a certain point. And I'm gonna let Deon finish his point. Continue what you were saying because you were mentioning about producers and writers and that kind of stuff.
I was just saying everybody takes their lead from somewhere. That's why when Toriyama passed, everybody was hurt because it's all derivative of one standpoint. But that doesn't mean that what you create isn't different just because it has similarities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's all perspective. Do you consider it to be the same just because they use that base similarity as other animes? Because if you look at it that way, then no, there's nothing new, and there never could be anything new because even uh Mecha Udon is like, oh well, they just used a mecha arm. Oh, okay, but it's basically just
Yeah.
JoJo, and their arm is a stance. Like it's there's nothing new. But if you look at it like, oh, he's taking a creative spin on what somebody else has already done, then you have endless possibilities to create different things.
Yeah, you're right. I,
There's
you're not
only
wrong.
70 notes in the music language.
That's very true. You have to put it in a way that makes sense. And actually, it's funny you mentioned Mechadoodon. I forgot to put that on my list because it is coming out in October 3rd. I don't know. It's gonna be
Honestly,
interesting. This
you can get 20 of just
yeah, that's I forgot that was on that list because it's funny. We saw it at AM but we didn't get a release date for it till like 2 weeks ago, like a month ago, and the release date's gonna be for this fall season. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what this anime season, this fall season does. I think the thing that's gonna really carry a lot of people, and it's gonna be interesting. A lot of stuff, a lot of the big stuff, but I think also the movies in the back half. A lot of the movies we're getting, like Solo Leveling, like My Hero, are gonna really intend people to go to the theater and do, go out and see these things, because ultimately that's the other part about this. We're getting a lot of that stuff, which is rare for a season. We don't usually get a bunch of movies during a season like this. This is the most, I think, movies we've gotten in a long time. But I'm gonna put this question out there, but I already think I know the answer. I'll start off with Chris for this. What is your I'll express it this way. What is your overall hope for the fall season of anime this year for 2024?
That for at least 20 to 45 minutes of my day, I am glued to my TV watching the latest episodes of the day instead of waiting for a good episode every other random day of the week.
Okay. Same question to you, Deon. What do you agree with Chris, or
What?
do you have something else?
I definitely agree with Chris. The more content you have to put out, the better it is, means I can watch every single day. I don't have to only watch on Tuesdays and wait for the next thing to drop and possibly
Mm.
find something good to watch on Wednesday. No, every day something hot is gonna drop and I'm here for it.
Do you think that's why the summer season was also kind of destroying it? Because a lot of people waited before we got a really big battle in My Hero. We got really good episodes of Onsen Adventure. We got really, really banging episodes of Wands and Swords. You had these like 2.5 got some had really good. Is that the hard thing? Like you watch a season, but then good episodes come out, everybody watches them, and then they kind of fall back to not watching much anymore. It's kind of just odd, because even the one example I go back to, which Chris's cousin is doing this right now, he's loving the show for it, and it's one I'm going to mention because I think it's funny. Solo Leveling. Think about the fact that Solo Leveling didn't really get a lot of hype until when. It's an odd thing that I'm going to mention. The Igris fight. And the Igris fight brought a lot of people to watch that episode and end up getting in the top 3 because of it. And the sad part is the whole anime was good.
Wait. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I gotta disagree with you. Solo Leveling was in the top 3 that entire season.
But here's the thing. It stayed in the top 5 most of that season.
Yeah. So they have to have some type of hype. Because as you know, anime corner charts do not. They do not.
They don't usually
support shonen type of anime.
No, they don't.
So for it to do that well.
But I think also the thing was, when the Igris fight really kicked into gear, a lot of people jumped on the show because they were like, "Oh, why is everybody talking about this fight? What is this a fight about? What's this fight about?" Then it kicked. Then people were like, "Okay, I need to watch these next couple episodes," and that's why it got in the top 3 for like I think a 3-week straight period. Go ahead.
The manga readers versus anime watchers.
Yeah, there we go.
Because as a manga reader of that, that was always the anticipated moment.
Yes, it was.
So when they actually got active online, all the anime watchers was like, "Oh, let me join these guys," because the manga readers were watching it anyway, because they knew it was coming. But then they just got active online because that was the big moment. It's like if you watch your team all preseason and then they get to that first home game of the year and you like, all right, yeah, now we finna cook, and then you get to the championship game, you telling everybody,
my
Yeah,
team made it
that's
to the
exactly
championship.
how y'all
That
felt
was
when
the
y'all watched
championship
it.
game right there.
But that's exactly how y'all
So I
felt
don't
when
think it was
y'all
that
read the
people
show
weren't
before then too.
watching.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You said what?
that was the same type of reaction that y'all had when y'all had already with webtoon or
Oh yeah,
manga,
Yeah.
and I was like,
I was
yeah,
I was waiting for that from day one.
yeah. And
From
and
day
I think,
one.
and the serious thing, I agree with both of you gentlemen. I think the other big thing I think that's gonna have to fix in this anime season, and it's something that I think is so badly covered. I wish they would do a better job of it. Tell us where these shows are, because ultimately, in every list I've found, you don't tell if it's just on High Dive, on Hulu. You have to go searching, and I think that's the other problem with anime. There's
That's
so
true.
much anime in different places, and in different contexts. In context, like you really have to go search for it, and that's the thing about it. I'm only keeping High Dive around for the next couple of months because there might be a lot more on High. There might be more coming to High Dive, but also
wait a
Crunchyroll's got
minute,
the.
wait a minute.
Go ahead,
Remember, usually whatever's not on Crunchyroll comes on High Dive,
High Dive, and vice
and out of
versa.
all of this goodness, all of this is not coming on Crunchyroll.
All of it's not coming on Crunchyroll, but like we know Dan to Dan, we know Two Mirrors on Netflix, we know the fact that Soul Leveling, My Hero, Blue Exodus, all stuff that's coming to um, Crunchyroll. So like we have a good amount of stuff we've already kind of seen come. We already know what's coming to where, but I kind of wish you just had here's what the season will look like, and next to each like anime, here's where they're going, so you can prepare. Because I don't think if you give people time to prepare, you can see they can really understand what they really want to go after. That's the sad thing to me. And I also think too that's kind of the issue. One of the big issues with anime now because it's so spread out. I think people stay on one platform, not the and they'll go to others because they don't really want to pay for it, which I don't blame them, or they just don't think it's worth it just for one show, which also I don't blame people either. But we'll see how that all get fixed out. But I think the other thing I want to see, and I don't think this will be a faster process because it takes time. I think we need to get away from waiting almost a full 5, 6 episodes to get the English dub out for some of these shows. That isn't. I think that's becoming more and more of an issue because it's just like, yeah, that feels like it's taking forever. And like it doesn't feel like you get a time to go back and watch it if you watched it already in Japanese, because then you're not going to go watch it back in English most times. I'm surprised we're watching Soul Leveling again in English, which ultimately I wanted. We're doing with his cousin, and we're doing with a friend, just somebody like my former roommate. I get that, but ultimately he's going to watch it in Japanese because he's never seen it in Japanese. Like he wants to, with English subtitles. So that's the big things I want to see. But ultimately, I think this season will be good. I think the season will have a lot of stuff in it, but we'll see how everything kind of pans out from there. Let's get into the last anime chart of the year because this anime chart, I mean, it's kind of shocking, but I have to give them credit because they did a good job with it. So at number 1, we got Days with My Stepsister. Number 2, Oshinoko. So Days with My Stepsister went up 1 spot. Days with My Oshinoko went up 3 spots to 2. Hide My Feeling Russian dropped 2 spots to 3. The Cafe Terrace jumped 6 spots to 4. Too Many Loser Heroines dropped 2 spots to 5. Pseudo Harem went up a spot. 2.5. Dimension Seduction dropped 3 spots. Fairy Tale 100-Year Quest dropped 3 spots, or dropped 2 spots. And No Longer Allowed in the World went up 8 spots to number 9. And then Wisteria, Wands, and Swords dropped 2 spots. Chris, what do you think about this anime chart? Week 12, so it's the last anime chart of the summer. What do you think? What do you think about
Bro, for Wisteria to drop 2 spots on the episode that they just had is almost an insult.
it? Why do you
Like,
say that?
bro, that last episode was epic. And they ended off on like probably one of the most coldest cliffhangers that bro, Wisteria should definitely be in at least the top 5. Okay, with all the now Cafe Terrace, I understand why that's up there. It's really Pseudo Harem must have really turned it around because it wasn't even placing in the first few weeks,
No, it wasn't.
and neither and 2.5 has been in and out. So
Yeah, 2.5 now.
yeah, man, I don't know, man. This is weird.
Deon, what do you think about this chart before I give my take? Because I think this chart has a little bit of everything, but I also think there's some outliers here. And I think the big one for me is one I didn't expect. It's 2.5, but I'll give that take in a second. So, what do you think about this whole chart, Deon? You're still there? Actually, I'll go ahead and give it now. I'll give my take now. I will say this. I think 2.5 is interesting because with 2.5, if you're a fan of cosplay or a fan of like understanding cons and cosplay world and all that kind of stuff, it will do a very good job. The back half of the season did a very good job, like adding people together, getting people together who would love cosplay, who love doing it, and kind of making a cosplay club. The other side of that coin that I think that's really interesting is that the first half was building up to that point and building up to doing all those things. So it really wasn't a strong, like, the buildup was there, but the back half was stronger. I know, like you said, Chris, Pseudo Harem did a very good job of picking up in the back half. I do know people talked about that. Um, I don't know about No Longer Allowed in Another World. I don't know about much about like what that anime is about. I'm guessing it was pretty good ultimately. Um, we'll see how that goes.
We need to
I
finish that one. I'm going to finish that one.
Well, yeah, I haven't started that one. I need to start it. I'm gonna start it. I waited till it finishes to start it because I was like, oh, that's a lot. I will say, Wanda's Astoria was getting to be hyped, so I understand. I'm like you. I don't really get why it fell off so hard to where it's not. It's barely touching the top 10.
Mhm.
Hide My Feelings to Russian. I know that was pretty strong in the back half. Days with My Stepsister was pretty strong in the back half. I feel like I'm happy to see that Fairy Tale stayed in the top 10 because any other year, I think it would have fallen out fast. Um, but
No, no, Fairy Tale would have been in at least in the top five.
top 5, okay.
Now the
I mean,
question is, how's it going to do in the fall? Because it's continuing.
yes, it is, and I don't know that's gonna do as well in the fall because the fall has a lot more extra, like bigger things up there as well, and things are coming in the back
Well,
half of the fall, which are gonna be a lot
it's
stronger.
definitely one of the older animes that's coming back. So
Yes. Um, I'll bring this up, and it was actually when I thought I'm gonna go through. I'll go through 11 through 20, and then we'll kind of go talk about it. So, Spice and Wolves at 11. Failure Frames at 12, which I give credit. Again, it should have been in the top 10. My Heroes at 13. My Dear Moments is at 14. Machine Yokohama Family is at 15. Dear Friend Nokata is at 16. The Time I Got Reincarnated Slime is at 17. The Elusive Samurai is at 18. How to Become Ordinary is at 19. And Near Automata is at 20. Um, I will say from this list, there's not like too much else that I would be surprised by. I Perry is at 23. Um, Onsen Adventure is at 21. Uh, Tower of Gods at 26. Code Geass at 32. VTuber Legend 29. Mocha Punch is at 36. My Wife Has No Much is at 34. Shy is at 39. Dungeon People's at 40. I think those should be flip flops, but okay. Bye Bye Earth at 41. Plus Size Elves at 42. The Fables at 46. I forgot that's still continuing. Jeez. Um, yeah, so those are the ones we'll be kind of following. I think it is kind of weird though. If you look at that list, look at the fact that like Onsen and Hyperi are off by a spot to each other. So there's a spot in between them. And look at the fact that Failure Frame's at 12, but I think Failure Frame could have outbeaten. I think Failure Frame could have outbeaten No Longer Allowed in the World. Maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like all these shows were iffy every week.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's what you brought up with the consistency. The consistency has to be there. If the consistency is not there, it's going to be hard pressed to have people continue to watch. Let's.
I get into this other chart real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So in this other chart, we have number 1, Oshinoko.
Okay.
2, Too Many Losing Heroines. 3, Highs and Feelings in Russian. 4, Days with My Stepsister. 5, Pseudo Harem. 6, Spice and Wolf. 7, Wistoria. 8, My Hero. 9, the slime. Time I got reincarnated as a slime. 10, the Montagati series. Man, bro, like, is it just me or we're like the top 5 almost the exact same?
No, they're I think pretty much the exact same except for like one show. Yeah, because you said Days with My Stepsister, Oshinoko, Hide My Feelings in Russian.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing Pseudo Harems, but Pseudo Harem is 6, so they moved up a spot on that chart. And the Montagari, the second one you said on this list, is not even the top.
Too many losing Yeah, it's Too Many Losing Heroines.
Yeah. So like that's interesting. It's like, oh, okay. So they kind of yeah, I don't know. That's kind of interesting. That tells me there's not a lot there. But we'll see how it goes. Because ultimately, too, I don't know if that's an issue of like what people actually like to watch over what people are actually following, or is it just like, oh, this is just not great? But we'll see. We'll see. I will say too, looking at the other chart I was looking at for like the most anticipated, Bleach 1,000 Year Door is 1, Dan to Dan number 2, ReZero is 3, Blue Lock season 2 is 4, Dragon Ball Daima is 5, Blue Box is 6, Spirit Chronicles is 7, season 2. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? That was also one I like that title. That's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, that whole show is good.
Yeah. Shangri-La is 9, and Yakuza Phoenix is 10. I will say with that list is actually kind of interesting because it's only 10. Is it only 10 deep for this? No, it's more than that. But Shangri-La is in top 10. I have to give him credit for that one. I also have to say I like the fact we're getting Dragon Ball Z's top 4. Top 5. That tells me that people are interested to see what they're doing with that. The show Deon was talking about, If My Wife Becomes an Elementary School Student, is at 19. So it's not too strong in the top 20. It's in the top 20, but it's not like crazy amount. Boot Exodus is only at 18. And I will say, it's even more interesting. The one I talked about, You Are Miss Servant, is at 13. I think there's a lot of ones I think that would be decent. I didn't know Seven Deadly Sins. Oh, the Seven Deadly Sins is coming back.
Yep.
Right.
See?
That's on 30. Oh, that's a 30. Wow.
I did not know Dan to Dan is coming out on Netflix.
Yes, it is. But it's not coming out on Crunchyroll, correct?
I have no idea.
I don't think it. I think that was why. It's not coming. Because I think a lot of people thought it wasn't going to come out on Crunchyroll, but I think it's only coming out on Netflix. It's a Netflix show. Yeah, we'll see. There's a lot there, but I think the other thing is it's just iffy. It just feels like Mocha Punch is 48 on this list, and I think that's not even. Yeah. But it's most anticipated, so I get that why it's not higher. Or Mecha Udon, not Mocha Punch. Mocha Udon is only 48, which is even kind of insane. I will see. Like I think it's gonna be fun to see where this stuff ends up. Oh, the Prince of Tennis under 17 World Cup snuff. That's an interesting title for a show. That's a tennis show. I think your big ones are gonna be Ganadan, Bleach, ooh, and maybe Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Like those are those like the three I think you could see getting a lot of the praise. If we
I
get a
think
couple, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think those will be the shows that stay in the top 10. Once they get in the top 10, they'll stay in there.
Correct. I think you'll have a lot of stuff move around. I think you'll have times where I think Shangri-La will stay in the top 10, but I think it will have a hard time staying in the top 10. I
So.
think you'll see some isekai get up there, like the elementary school girl, though my wife's an elementary school student. I think my Miss Servant, my Miss Servant kind of one, that will probably get up there a couple times. Things like that will have random episodes that do well. I just don't know how much that's really going to matter to a lot of people, but I can see it happening. We'll see. Like I'm interested to see where this last season goes, because this season is going to be interesting to see if, like you say, more consistency across the board about watching episodes week to week, like you and Deon both said, and it's going to be interesting week to week, or is it going to just be one of those things where it bounces around where one week one episode's good, the next week the episode's kind of not great, then another episode's good from another show, vice versa. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Let's get in this last episode of Shy. Is it weird to say I'm glad the series is about to be over?
No, it isn't.
Like I feel like Shy didn't do what I expected it to do, but at the same time, it's kind of just like it kind of is gonna go out with a whimper.
It's
And a
like
whimper nonetheless.
y'all had one good episode, and that episode was fire and it was perfect, which makes me believe like either somebody's not doing the storyboard right, or maybe y'all just spent all your money on that one show.
Did you watch last week's episode, by the way?
No.
Okay. You didn't. I mean, you didn't miss much. I will say the last week's episode was kind of odd because they recapped. They didn't recap anything, but then all the fights kind of concluded in a way. It's like, oh, the good guys win. The Earth is saved. It's like, huh? And Shy did it. It was like, wait. This doesn't feel right because this is like a happy ending and it should be the last episode, but it's episode 23 and like certain things didn't make sense, but I was surely just surprised it was going to be that like great. It was not great. It was terrible. It was kind of like ugh, kind of not great. Kind of like when me and Dan watched it, it was like I think me and Dan were both kind of like, what are they doing? Like this doesn't feel right.
They had one good episode.
Yeah. So let's get up episode 24 of Shy. We'll end out the summer with this. By next week we'll start the fall stuff. We'll kind of be in our text group and things, kind of picking a show we want to do for the summer, or the fall season. We'll probably still do two. most likely they're gonna probably do one sleeper and one thing we want to, one thing we
One
all look forward
sleeper
to,
and one mainstream.
one
Yeah.
mainstream. That's kind of the plan usually. Um, but I'll let y'all know when we come to it that day for that. But let's get in this episode. Let's see how Shy ends out for season 2, and hope you're ready. So, Chris, you ready?
Let's go.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, start. Y'all lost. Why are you still fighting? And that is teasing for a season 3.
Why does he have wings and crow's feet?
Okay, so that was the other thing about the last episode. He saved those two. He saved Shy and the other two girls, the sisters, and helped them defeat the darkness by doing that, which I
Well,
didn't know he could even do. It was
well,
kind of weird
I'm
seeing that.
glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't see that. I'm glad I didn't see that.
That was the part we were confused. We're like, how do you grow crows?
I would have been calling him Chicken Boy. Come on, Yin Yang Twins.
I, I think the fact that they're doing the resolution here feels odd.
It feels like they're just trying to end it real quick.
Yeah, like, but then you captured the Joker girl, so that means we're getting a season 3, definitely. The other heroes, the other villains are gone. We haven't seen much of Sigma, which is the other thing Deon called out pretty quickly. We haven't seen Sigma since episode
What
2.
was that? No, they was fighting him on top of the barrier.
Oh yeah, so we saw him that episode. We haven't seen him since that episode, and then we saw him
Yeah,
earlier in the
that was
season.
like episode 7 or 8, and that was it.
Yeah, it was kind of like that's also weird. He's the big bad, and yet we really haven't had any like confrontation with him as much as you would think.
He has some alternate form that he ain't shown or something.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, oh, uh, huh? I am so confused. Oh yeah, she did that to stop the darkness, stop the fear going into the sky. She absorbed it to the moon. That's right. So she did the last good thing for humanity, and now she's passing away because of the darkness. Why are we getting this backstory now?
Because like you said, it's finna pour into the 3rd season.
Why do you wait to tell her that? I get that.
Cliffhanger.
Did she just punch her chest to belt? Okay. All right. All right. Uh-huh. All right. I don't know what to think now. Oh, that's creepy. Um, huh? So she gets purified one last time. Wait, the previous hero of Japan. Is she talking about Shy? Or is she talking about somebody before Shy?
Somebody before Shy, and that person was called the Hero of Light.
Oh, we've seen this. We've seen this before, right? We've heard about this. What? Wait. What? Huh? Okay.
This dude.
The bird from the beginning. Okay, that's a better reveal, but that's not a great reveal because we didn't know that. So he protected her every step of the way.
Both of them.
I know this kind of ties into what we've seen like in Dead on Death Play, but the reincarnation thing, people they believe that they reincarnate into something else, correct?
Correct.
So this kind of gets the fact that she's cleansed herself, but at the same time she'll reincarnate something else because of the things she's done.
Yep. So many stories like that in the Bible.
I like the premise. I will say, but I think the story could have been told better.
Yeah, because like I still feel like they rushed this ending.
Shy's like, wait, what?
Mhm.
And she hates to be in front of the media, which
Yeah, you
ties
better
that
get
back
used to
together.
it. Better get used to it.
That was a save.
Mm-hmm.
That's also a save. I like that. Even Shrimp talking. I don't think he should be talking.
Yep.
Because he talking, that exposes a lot of things. Okay. Oh, the starting screen? Is it the starting screen or the? I think it's the opening screen you see.
Yep. Uh,
It's the reporter. Okay, I have to give him credit. They tied everything back together.
somebody she's talked to before.
Yes, from the. But I love the fact that it keeps her in her that keeps the same character dynamic because she said that prior.
Right.
Cheap phones are so cute. Okay, all right, that's a little cute moment.
Wow. That was random too.
So she's a one-off story.
Yep.
Well,
but she
no,
might come back though.
she might come back. That's what I was saying. She's a one-off story for now, but she could technically come back down the road
Right.
because she's friends with Shy. So she takes over the village.
Yep. Mm. Did you see the bird come and get her?
I did. Cute.
Well thought out.
I'll let this roll through because we're gonna hear. They'll talk about.
That's cool with me. That's new. These are new.
I want to make a prediction, but that prediction I don't know. I'm not gonna make it.
Well, go ahead. Either it happens or it doesn't.
I think the person that was the hero of light, or the power of light, whatever you want to call it. I think that's her mom.
Interesting.
Because you notice in the picture that they hold their person's holding a baby that looks like Shy.
I thought that was Shy holding a baby.
Well, no. I think in the little flashback thing, I think that's somebody else holding Shy as a kid.
Now see, now I gotta go back and see it.
I think that's why I'm like, it feels like it has some it's weird because it doesn't have, it's like really faint, and I don't know if that's just me thinking of that or it's just my like brain thinking of it, but I think that they're trying to tell you something without telling you something.
Well, yeah. Well, I feel like they tried to drop a lot of clues about season 3. So
We won't do a full play-by-play for this. We'll just talk about it in general and then we'll give it ratings. But I think this episode was good, but like you said, it feels rushed.
yep. Like they were trying to fit so much into one episode.
And I feel like, and Deon's not here because he's having internet problems. But like, I would feel Deon would probably get bored of this so quick, and I think that's why we got bored of the last episode. Like they're resolving things in a way it's like this doesn't make sense.
Like y'all are trying to resolve so many loose ends and trying to make it connect with season 3, and it's like, wait, what? Like y'all should have been dropping these hints in like episode 4 or 5. Like,
So him being their protector, the shinobi guy, I assumed he was the bird, but I couldn't until we saw him have the bird wings and stuff last episode. I'm like, wait, is he not actually human? Which also kind of begs the question, like, how the how the world does this ain't making sense?
Bro, he was a whole plot character.
And he doesn't get any backstory.
Nope.
He's just kind of there. It's just kind of like the the world.
Like the only little backstory they give him is that they was the bird that he rescued.
Yeah, like then the sister gets more backstory. The sister tells why she did it all. The fact that she before she met Sigma, she was protected by the bird, and it felt like they didn't do a good job of like connecting stuff. They leave you breadcrumbs throughout the season, but they don't feel strong. Because the ultimate thing about this, you remember we talked about that. I think I talked about this with Deon, but I don't remember if I talked about you. Remember in Dead Mount Death Play, they would drop us crumbs at multiple points throughout the season. Even season 2, they did that. But at least the crumbs they dropped us tied back into things we would see. So this feels odd because there's no time. There's stuff that ties back, but we didn't get the clues or the hints they left us.
Correct.
I don't know what a season 3 would bring because season 3 feels like they would just continue the story of Shy getting stronger. They would continue the story of Shy learning how to use her powers. She would become this great ultimate hero, and that's it. Like, what? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, it feels like Shy's character development is kind of not getting boring. And she's the main character.
But I mean, that's the thing though. Like the fact that they calling her shy, but she's a hero is the whole disconnect because you that's a personality trait that you wouldn't equate with a hero.
You wouldn't.
But she's supposed to be your introverted hero, which is not saying that it's not possible, but then again, so is Batman.
Yeah, so it's Batman.
So
Like,
so I mean like the whole premise of telling this story is really off. Even though they have a few moments that are trying to shine biblically and also psychologically, it's like those moments are so far in between. It's like the story itself makes no sense whenever they do bring it up.
and I went back to find the panel. It's at 2339. I think the lady in the panel, or it's at 2302, sorry, not 2339. At the edit 2302. And the lady in the panel is holding a baby. That baby looks like Shy. I'm assuming that lady is Shy's mother, and she passed on the powers of, you know, Japan's hero to her. We don't know that though. But the
If
other
that's true, then this show technically would predate My Hero Academia.
correct. But the other problem with that is that also gives me indication that, like, tell us that story because that story is kind of vague. How did she get her powers? Where did she get them from? We don't know much about her family because honestly, when we first met Shy in the first season, she's living by herself. Um, it feels like there's a lot of disjointedness throughout the show. Would I want to see a season 3? Yeah. But do I care? No. Because I think it's not one of those things where I'm like, oh, is it going to be a good season 3? No. It's going to be okay. We'll see. I'm not crazy about it, but we'll see what happens. Ultimately, I'm going to ask for this, Chris. What would you give episode 24 of Shy for a rating?
Episode 24 is going to get a solid 6.3.
Oh, okay. Why?
Okay, because I see what they tried to do. They rushed it a lot, and I really don't want to give them the score, but I feel like need to give them something for trying.
Okay. All right. I agree with everything you said up to this point. The only thing I would say, I can't give him the score for trying. I give him like a 5.
Okay.
And like that's basically because you gave us a little bit of story, enough to get me involved. But then you kind of rushed all the closing stuff. Because if you go back and look at episode 23, the way it ends in episode 23, it's like, oh, the resolution, everything's fine. People are back. They rush the ending. They don't rush the ending battle. Giant quotation marks. They kind of don't have one and try to save the day. And there's a bunch of dialogue after seeing what happened. There's a good episode in this with the 2 episodes here. It just feels odd because it doesn't feel like they were connected in any way, possible, shape, or form. I think what they should have done, took some of this, put it in episode 23, and then took the other stuff, put it in episode 24.
Well, see, maybe because I haven't seen the episode, I got that score, but because maybe that could be the one negative point.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that makes this a saving grace is the fact that Shy gets accosted by the Swedish hero and a couple other things after the fact, saying, you're still good, you're a good leader, all this kind of stuff. And she's trying to hype her up. So it's still something there. We just don't know what. It feels like they were kind of trying to kind of text back to all the other heroes, but they really couldn't.
Yeah,
But we'll see what
it was a
happens.
fail. I'm sorry, it was a fail either way.
Yeah, it was. We'll see what happens. I mean, ultimately, this is the end of Shy for now. Do we get an announcement for season? We didn't get an announcement after this for season 3, so we don't know if it's going to be down the road or something. We'll see what happens. I think they'll take a break. We might get announcements by the end of the year about season 3, if that. Or is this just a good way to end the series? Could do that as well. Because you can technically end the series here if you really wanted to. That's absolutely possible. But let me know what you think in the comments. Ultimately, we're about to get into the fall season. Get into that. Talk about what's going on. I think this is gonna be great. I think the fall season is gonna be strong. Ultimately, I think that's gonna be the coming out of the summer. People will have stuff to watch and things like that. But this was a special Monday episode of the Anime Dojo, episode 74. We'll be back next week to do episode 75, getting the fall season, starting that off proper. Yeah, we'll get into other news and things. This will go up on, like I said, Spotify after it processes. So you'll have it as of this month, as of tomorrow, technically. And then it will go up on YouTube on Thursday. But I do thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy and hope you for next time. See ya.
Deuces. Monday.